Here's your General Hospital spoiler sneak peek video for Friday, December 5th, 2025. After his Thanksgiving evening visit to Laura's place to wield threats and throw his weight around, Sidwell makes his way to Sonny's place, where the fun never stops. First, Rick popped in for a drink. Then, Rocco ran away from home. And after that, Gio and Emma arrived with a bunch of dogs. Now, Sonny has to deal with Sidwell and his drone photos. Sidwell assures Sonny that he has enough evidence to put Sonny and Laura away for a long, long time. But Sonny was expecting this. He knew Sidwell was behind Dalton's death, so surely he has a plan, right? Laura better hope so, as Kevin urges her to finally go to the police. Laura argues she can't do that because she'd also be incriminating Sonny. Jason takes a very drunk Britt back to her room, but doesn't expect her to end up on the floor. It appears that Jason leaves Britt's room, but then comes bursting back in when he hears a crash. Britt has felt unsteady for weeks, but is it her Huntington's disease that causes the fall or too much alcohol? Jason doesn't even know that Britt just witnessed a man being shot right next to her. The stress could be getting to Britt, hence the excessive drinking. Jocelyn doesn't like it when Jack puts her in her place and tells the young WSB agent that she is about to cross a line. Does she get a little too pushy with her boss when she tries to figure out what happened to Vaughn? Will Jack even tell her? Jack might want to worry about Jocelyn's mother, who is also his girlfriend. Carly does her best to make amends with Lucas, but when she gets home, she has even more problems. Someone is lurking outside her window, according to the General Hospital weekly promo. So, Carly finds herself on high alert. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital star Rory Gibson has been in Port Charles long enough to form close bonds with his colleagues. But soap stars aren't just friendly with their fellow actors. They forge relationships with behind-the-scenes folks as well. Now, Gibson is saying farewell to one of Ahio's pals. Gibson shared in his Instagram stories that a photo of him giving what appears to be a goodbye hug to Jacqueline Quackenbush, a makeup artist who first came to work on the show in 2019. "It's my favorite person's last day today," Gibson shared in the story. "Love you, Jack. GH isn't going to be the same without you." The actor closed out his sentiment with 2 heart emojis. Actors on daytime often spend long hours with members of the crew as they work together to put the show together. The hair and makeup department is often one of the first stops actors make when they show up for the studio. Gibson may have had to spend more time in his makeup chair while artists cover up his tattoos. That could easily explain how he and Quackenbush developed a friendship. Quackenbush's other credits include doing makeup for AFV and the short films Claude and the Jewels of Light. What's next for Quackenbush? According to her IMDb page, she's set to do the makeup on a short titled The Alchemist's Daughter. In the post above, Quackenbush shared photos from 2023 where the GH team went to work on Christina Wagner in an effort to make Felicia look absolutely ghastly. Quackenbush's other work from the ABC soap can be seen on her Instagram page. Gibson joined GH early this year, making his first appearance in May at the Nurses' Ball when Michael showed up and took his son, Wiley, away, making a memorable impression in the process. Since then, we've seen Michael go to some dark places as he's manipulated events to make sure that he maintains custody of his kids from Willow. Many thought the late Monica Quartermain would leave her house to Michael as he was her grandson. However, she left it to Tracy instead. Before coming to General Hospital, Gibson was cast as Noah Newman on The Young and the Restless. He appeared on that show from 2021 to 2023. Here are your General Hospital spoilers for Friday, December 5th, 2025. Sidwell has the 2 most powerful people in Port Charles right where he wants them. His first stop on this busy Thanksgiving night was Laura's place to tell her that he is in charge now, and she is essentially a puppet mayor and will listen to him and Ezra Boyle. As Laura freaks out and tells Kevin that she'd implicate Sonny if she went to the police now, Sidwell sits in Sonny's living room and tells him he has enough evidence to put Sonny and Laura behind bars for a long, long time. Sonny is backed into a corner, but will he find a way to get the upper hand? Jason brings a drunk Britt back to her room above Bobby's, where he tries to settle her in. Britt is combative as always, so Jason leaves. But that's where things appear to get dicey. Britt is not just drunk, she is also not well, as her hands have been shaking too much after witnessing Sidwell shoot Dalton right in front of her. She is not sure if it is nerves or her Huntington's symptoms returning. Either way, she passes out on the floor, but Jason can hear the crash from her fall and comes running back into her room to rescue her. Sidwell seems to be on everyone's mind, as Carly once again tells Lucas she fears for his life if he moves into Windermere. She knows how dangerous Sidwell can be, but she also wants to make amends with her brother. Lucas tells her she will have to accept that Marco is now a part of his life. As for Jocelyn, she gets a little too nasty with Jack, especially now that she can't find Vaughn. Jack does not take too kindly to her attitude and tells Joss she is crossing a line. Will he also tell her where he stashed her new boyfriend? General Hospital spoilers hint that Brad Cooper might have pulled the trigger on Drew Kane. Has Selena Wu secretly been training Brad as a mob hitman? Back when Selena first recruited Brad for the mob, she saw great potential in him. Perhaps Brad is back in Selena's organization and being forced to do her dirty work. Selena doesn't take no for an answer, so Brad wouldn't really have a choice if she threatened him enough. Since Brad's been off-screen, it's possible he's been training for a very sinister position. In GH's December 3rd episode, a flashback showed Selena striking the deal that Curtis Ashford pushed for. Curtis insisted he wanted Drew dead that night, so Selena replied that it'd be done within 2 hours. Selena also hinted about having the perfect person for the job, so she obviously had someone specific in mind for this mission. What if Brad flew back home with Selena and was ultimately sent to wipe Drew off the map? That would explain why the hit was botched, since that seems like the kind of thing Brad as a reluctant hitman would do. Brad tends to mess up pretty much everything in his life, so he may have messed up while following Selena's orders too. There may be more shocking flashbacks brewing if viewers eventually see some of Brad firing the gun. If Selena might have pressured Brad into this, he could be the solution to the Drew whodunit. Of course, we should also consider the possibility that Brad showed up for this assignment and witnessed the shooting instead. Before Brad could end Drew, he might have watched someone else pull the trigger. Brad might have bolted from the crime scene without waiting to see if this other shooter finished Drew off. Whatever the case, fall preview info hinted about Brad making a comeback, so we'll bring you updates on any stunning news that might come with his return. General Hospital spoilers say Brad could get back in the mix in some surprising ways, so stay tuned to the ABC soap. General Hospital spoilers for Friday, December 5th reveal that fans will see Britt Westbourne's drunken collapse along with Sonny Corinthos' blackmail discovery. Carly Spencer will also deal with a home invasion, so here's what fans can expect. At GH, Carly will do her best to patch things up with Lucas Jones, but Lucas will make it crystal clear where he stands. If Carly truly wants to make amends, then she'll need to accept that Marco Rios is in Lucas's life. Of course, Carly will remain concerned about Lucas' Windermere move and Marco's connection to Jen Sidwell, but she may promise she can keep any negativity to herself. As for Sidwell, he'll pay a visit to Sonny's place now that he's delivered blackmail news to Laura Collins. Sidwell has incriminating photos of Laura and Sonny standing by her trunk with Professor Henry Hank Dalton inside, so he'll let Sonny know he's got the upper hand. "I have more than enough to put you and the mayor away," Sidwell declares confidently in Friday's GH preview video. Sidwell may insist Sonny's going to follow orders from now on, starting with surrendering the peers Sidwell's been after for so long. While Sidwell forces Sonny into a tricky corner, Laura will shock Kevin Collins by bringing him up to speed. Kevin will reel over Sidwell's leverage and perhaps think it's time to tell the cops the whole ugly story. However, Laura will point out that she can't turn herself in without implicating Sonny. There's also the matter of Sidwell's veiled Ace Cassadine threats, so Laura may fear she'll just have to play by Sidwell's rules. While Kai Taylor continues to support Trina Robinson, Jason Morgan will step up for Britt Isomota as well. Britt's had too much to drink at Brown Dog Bar, where she just dared Jason to kiss her. Jason may decline considering the state Britt's in and push her away if she tries to pull him into a lip lock anyway. In Britt's room above Bobby's, it looks like she'll throw back even more booze. Britt will get so drunk that she takes a major tumble in her room, so Jason will hear the commotion and come bursting inside. At some point, Britt will finally let her walls down a bit with Jason and turn to him for the comfort she needs right now. Meanwhile, it looks like Jocelyn Jax will lash out at Jack Brennan for sending S. Vaughn away. Brennan may remind Jocelyn that she broke the rules along with Vaughn and refused to apologize for forcing Vaughn to face the consequences. Jocelyn's decision to argue with Brennan won't go over very well. Brennan will insist there's a line that Jocelyn is dangerously close to crossing, so he may warn her to stop before she faces consequences too. Back with Carly, she'll get spooked when she hears someone creeping around her house. Carly will arm herself with a fireplace poker and try to attack a surprise intruder. But there could be a big twist. There's a good chance Valentine Cassadine escaped during his prison transport and has come to meet Carly in person. On the Thursday, December 4th, 2025, episode of General Hospital, Dante faced off with Gio again. Cody and Molly missed each other. Jason saved Britt from herself, and Sidwell blackmailed Laura. Rick and Sonny couldn't believe the number of dogs Gio and Emma brought to Sonny's home. However, Rick focused more on the legal ramifications for Rocco due to their latest actions. He was now considered an accomplice to the new list of laws the young couple had broken in the name of animal activism. Rick was upset that they risked Rocco's case to further their agenda against animal testing. Emma didn't think it was stealing, and she referred to their actions as a liberation of the animals. Rick shot back at her belief, painting a picture of how the police would react to that explanation. Sonny urged his brother to back off and defended their actions. They believed they were doing the right thing by breaking the dogs from Dalton's captivity. Rick understood where the kids were coming from, but he wasn't sure the law would see things the same way. Roku wondered whether Dalton even knew the dogs were missing, since he was allegedly out of town. Unfortunately for everyone, Dante arrived shortly after, thoroughly confused by the number of dogs in Sonny's living room. Dante noticed the dogs belonged to Dalton and assumed Gio had coaxed his brother into another illegal adventure. However, Rocco and Gio confirmed that the younger brother had no prior knowledge of the events before they arrived with the animals. Dante berated Gio for taking part in yet another scheme, but this time, Sonny ordered him to stop. He asked his son to set his badge aside for a moment and remember he was speaking to his son. Dante couldn't ignore the evidence, so Rick brought up the Good Samaritan law to save the animals from ongoing distress. Gio and Emma instantly stuck to that story and fed Dante a tale about overhearing the creatures' cries. Gio defended their actions against Dante's aggression and believed it was the best outcome to save the dogs. Sonny called it a victimless crime and didn't see the harm in it. Alexis hated that she didn't get to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with Molly and Christina. She didn't want to support her wedding to Willow, but it granted them more access. Alexis was frustrated that Drew kept getting what he wanted, but they both believed Willow was innocent of his shooting, so there was some common ground. Molly assumed Drew coerced Willow into the marriage to help boost her case. Christina questioned whether it would go the other way, and she thought the jury would see things differently. Alexis didn't care about the marriage, and she was just grateful that Willow and Scout had a genuine connection. Molly couldn't find her phone, and once Christina located it, they realized there was a text from Cody inviting her out. Christina wanted to upgrade Molly's wardrobe before she agreed to meet him, though. Kai offered to leave Trina by herself so she could process everything that happened. She was offended that Portia kept the pregnancy from her, and beyond that, she was forced to witness her father and Jordan kissing. The holiday was capped off by Curtis being hauled into the police station for questions about Drew's shooting. He asked how he could help her through it, and she was simply grateful that he was there with her. Kai encouraged her not to worry too much since the police had already released Curtis. He hoped it was just a precautionary measure to clear him from the suspect pool. Trina refused to remain idle while her family fell to pieces, and Kai had the solution. They worked together to uncover who shot Drew before the police did. They were at the crime scene when it happened, so they were the closest to the case. He insisted they go over the events from that night again, which would help them exonerate Curtis. Trina thought the signs pointed to one of her parents as the person who pulled the trigger. She wasn't certain she wanted confirmation of the truth from them as potential perpetrators. Kai didn't think that Curtis would shoot Drew out of anger, but he believed Portia was capable of the crime. Jordan asked Curtis what he lied to Nathan about, and he admitted that he didn't spend time alone at his club like he told the police. She asked who he was with, and he confessed it was Selena Wu. Curtis stunned Jordan even more when he confessed that his intention was for Selena to murder Drew. Jordan was confused because she believed that Selena had previously left town. However, Curtis summoned her back to Port Charles. Selena agreed to take out Drew for $1 million. Curtis appreciated how hard Jordan rode for him at the PCPD, so he had opted for complete transparency. He opened up to her about Drew blackmailing Portia and targeting his Aunt Stella. Still, Jordan knew Curtis enough to know that he wouldn't have murdered Drew or hired someone to commit the crime. Curtis couldn't go through with the murder for hire, and he didn't want to give her anything to hold over his head for years. Curtis refused to be responsible for the murder because it would have distorted his family. He couldn't let either of the towering figures take that away from him. Britt went to the brown dog, but it wasn't long until she was spotted by Jason and Spinelli. He recently returned from seeing Maxie. They were just happy to spend time with Maxie, even if she remained in a coma. He believed it was good for everyone involved to spend quality time with Maxie, but not for him. Seeing her didn't bring him happiness. Every moment he spent with her, while she remained irresponsible, left him gutted. Spinelli couldn't stop obsessing over the alternatives to Maxie waking up. She could remain in this state forever, or she could eventually succumb to her injuries. Jason tried to reassure Spinelli that she would come back to her family one day. However, that didn't ease his fears either. It felt so far-fetched because it was difficult to imagine. Instead of enjoying the time he spent with Maxie, he hyper-focused on how many times they had left. Before Spinelli left, he told Jason not to worry too much about Britt because she was in good hands with Cody. Cody approached Britt, and it was the first time they'd interacted since her surprise return from the dead. They complimented each other's good looks, but Britt couldn't stop making eye contact with Jason. He tried to leave once she didn't take his life changes seriously, but she convinced him to stay. Cody wasn't in the best of moods because he didn't think his date was going to show up and meet him at the bar. Britt laughed at the idea of Cody and Sasha almost dating before they learned they were cousins. Britt stumbled, and although Cody caught her, Jason zeroed in on her. Molly arrived at the bar while Cody was slow dancing with Britt, looking heartbroken. Cody took off before he noticed Molly was there, and he was devastated that she never showed up. Britt was left alone and attempted to order another drink, but Jason cut her off and opted for water. Laura received a knock at her door, and she had to compose herself when she saw that the man was none other than Jens Sidwell. He asked to be invited in, but after she declined, he blocked her from closing the door and claimed he'd go to the police if she didn't reconsider. She ultimately allowed him into her home, cut the small talk, and asked what he wanted. Sidwell asked what the citizens of Port Charles would think if they knew she had murdered Professor Dalton. She denied his accusation, but Sidwell presented her with a photo of Laura standing over her trunk with Dalton's body inside. She downplayed the image and compared it to the kind of fake that could be generated with AI. Sidwell knew it was real, and it wouldn't be long until law enforcement uncovered the same. Laura requested the location of the murder weapon, and Sidwell was impressed by her attitude. She told him, "I have faced others like you. In fact, I've faced worse than you. And you know what? None of them are around anymore, but I am." He didn't think anyone she'd gone up against in the past had proof that she'd done anything. Sidwell also had evidence that Sonny helped her cover up the murder. Laura involving Sonny wasn't part of the plan, but he was grateful that she dragged him into the mess. Sidwell told Laura that if she followed things exactly how she wanted, she would never be implicated in the murder by the police. Laura demanded to know what he actually wanted from her. Sidwell agreed to let her work as the mayor of Port Charles, but she'd also become his new employee. She needed to do his bidding, and he warned her that something tragic could happen. A knock at the door interrupted the conversation, and it was Ezra Boyle. He would communicate all of Sidwell's instructions, so Laura could facilitate them. Sidwell told her to find a way to explain it, and asked whether she agreed to his terms. General Hospital spoilers hint that we have to consider the possibility of Jacinda Bracken's surprise pregnancy, which could mean a new baby for Michael Corinthos. Could Jacinda have a bun in the oven after the passionate night she just shared with Michael? Even if we assume birth control was involved, considering Jacinda's previous line of work, it's not always 100% effective. That's especially true on soaps, where unplanned pregnancies happen all the time. Some might say Michael has enough kids, and they'd probably be right. Nevertheless, Michael might as well follow in Sonny Corinthos' footsteps and start having plenty of babies, with plenty of women. Plus, Michael was heartbroken when Sasha Gilmore Corbin left town with Daisy Gilmore. Although Michael adores Daisy, he isn't raising her or playing any sort of role in her world now that she's so far away. In other words, Michael has 3 children, but it's not like Daisy is around to truly count. Only Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos are part of Michael's daily life, so there's room to add another kid to the mix. Of course, Jacinda's unexpected pregnancies could complicate things for Michael when it comes to keeping custody of Amelia and Wiley. It wouldn't be a good look for Michael to have yet another unplanned baby, this time with a well-known Port Charles escort. That's something that might work in Willow Kane's favor if she manages to get exonerated in this Drew Kane shooter case. Willow plans to fight hard for Wiley and Amelia, so we'll see how that works out for her. However, there'd be some benefits to Jacinda's surprise baby when it comes to the fake alibi that Michael is trying to sell. Michael could use Jacinda's potential pregnancy as evidence that their relationship is legitimate. It could help strengthen Michael's alibi, at least until Harrison Chase inevitably proves Jacinda was with Ezra Boyle the night of Drew's shooting and blows things up. Regardless, GH writers could add another messy layer of drama if Jacinda ends up pregnant with Michael's child. General Hospital spoilers say Michael has more obstacles ahead of him, so stay tuned for updates on any life-changing news that might be on the way. General Hospital spoilers update for Friday, December 5th, reveals that Jen Sidwell'S will stun Sonny Corinthos, while Jason Morgan makes a heroic move. Jocelyn Jacks will also blast Jack Brennan, so plenty of drama is coming up in Port Charles. At Brown Dog Bar, Jason may reject Britt Westbourne's kiss dare and take her back to her place to sober up instead. Britt will have other ideas, since she'll apparently continue drowning her sorrows. After Britt loses her balance and crashes into the floor, Jason will play the hero. Britt will be an emotional wreck by the end of all this, but Jason will invite her to lean on him. At Sonny's house, he'll fume when Sidwell pays him a visit. Sidwell will taunt Sonny with the photographic evidence he just showed to Laura Collins and insist he's in charge now. Since Sidwell has pics of Laura and Sonny next to deceased Professor Henry Hank Dalton in her car trunk, he has the power to send them both to prison. Of course, Sidwell feels confident that he got through to Laura, so now he can use her position as mayor to his advantage. As long as Laura follows orders, Sidwell may assure Sonny that she'll be just fine. Sidwell will push Sonny to do the same, unless he wants to land behind bars, and may make his first blackmail demand. Since Sidwell has been after Sonny's peers for what feels like forever, he may insist on Sonny signing those over to him. Although Sonny will feel cornered, that doesn't mean he'll give up. Even if Sonny pretends to go along with Sidwell's terms, he may call Jason for an emergency strategy session and plot revenge soon enough. In the meantime, Laura will fill Kevin Collins in on her nightmare getting even worse while he was busy at GH. Kevin may push Laura to turn herself in and hope the cops buy her story, but she won't want to drag Sonny down with her. Furthermore, Sidwell seemingly threatened Ace Cassadine during his recent visit, so Laura may worry about what'll happen to her grandson if she goes against Sidwell. Over with Kai Taylor, he'll continue to have Trina Robinson's back. Trina and Kai plan to solve the Drew Kane shooter mystery themselves, so we'll see how that mission works out for them. Next, Carly Spencer will find Lucas Jones and try to fix her relationship with him. Lucas will be willing to consider that, but he'll warn Carly that she'd better learn to accept his romance with Marco Rios. After Carly heads home, she won't be alone. A mysterious intruder will end up inside Carly's house, so she'll sense his presence and grab a fireplace poker to defend herself. However, this intruder may be more of an ally than a foe. If Valentine Cassadine used his prison transfer to make his escape, then he may be a fugitive who breaks in Carly's place to talk. Carly and Valentin have a vengeful partnership against Brennan in play, so he may shock her with the news that he's stolen his freedom. Brennan will also get updates on a shocker at some point, so that may involve information on Valentin's infuriating getaway. As for Jocelyn, she should be livid as well once she learns Brennan forced S. Vaughn out of the picture. Jocelyn will lash out over Vaughn's banishment, but Brennan will make it clear that he's the boss, and what he says goes. General Hospital spoilers indicate Brennan won't tolerate any further insubordination, so he'll deliver a fierce warning to Jocelyn and hope it sinks in. Port Charles feels Sidwell's shadow as Sonny is cornered. Carly seeks forgiveness. Laura is haunted. Britt trembles under pressure. In other news, Trina leans on Kai. The General Hospital spoilers for Friday, December 5th focus on characters who are going through it in Port Charles. Sonny is backed into a corner. Carly tries to make amends. And poor Laura. The mayor is haunted. Sidwell's essence and influence are all over Friday's spoilers. His thirst for power and control is insatiable. With Laura winning the mayoral election and Measure C tanking, he's having to improvise. Hence, the killing of two birds with one stone when Sidwell offed Dalton, then made good use of his body. And now he's busy exerting his control over Laura, and undoubtedly Sonny, which is why, on Friday, the weekly teasers hint that Sonny is backed into a corner. And to paraphrase a famous quote, "Nobody puts Sonny in a corner. That's when he gets dangerous." In fact, his family should give him a wide berth. What is Sonny about to do? Mainville, Carly tries to make amends. This might have something to do with Sidwell if Carly is attempting to make amends with Lucas, who has moved into Windermere, Sidwell's lair. This puts the good doctor in a perilous position, dangerously close to the kind of action nobody wants to be around. Carly is worried about Lucas, but she should have known better than to raise such a stink with her brother. It has created tension and distance between them, and she clearly wants to repair the damage. Who wants to tell Lucas that Carly is right, and he may rue the day he ever moved in with Marco at Windermere? Poor Laura. Sure, she has her husband, Kevin, back in town, at least for a little while, but she is in so much trouble now that her re-election has triggered Sidwell's current reign of terror. Of course, she is haunted. Who wouldn't be in her situation? But how haunted is she? She could be feeling paranoid, and every sound or movement could spook her. Or it could be worse. Seeing a dead body in your trunk is liable to cause trauma, which could come out in a number of different ways. On a scale of 1 to 10, how haunted will Laura feel? Speaking of experiencing trauma at the hands of Sidwell, Britt witnessed the crime lord kill Dalton in cold blood, and she is attempting to deal with it, but it's proving to be difficult. Look for Britt to lean on Jason. The question is how much she will depend on his support. Will she end up letting him in and telling him the whole truth? You know she wants to, but she has trust issues. She also has another issue. If Sidwell finds out, he will do something bad to her or someone she loves. What will Britt do? The only connections between Kai, Trina, and Sidwell are Drew and Ava, who have their own dealings with the man. Trina's current problems stem from her personal situation. The Ashford-Robinson crew is kind of imploding right now. The police are very interested in Curtis as a suspect in Drew's shooting. Trina has just learned that her mother is pregnant, but her mother didn't tell her. She witnessed her dad kissing Jordan, and she doesn't even know about her mom's affair with Isaiah. Additionally, she and Kai are keeping a massive secret from the cops about being at Drew's the night of the shooting. It may be too late for father and son. Dante is not going to win any Father of the Year awards on General Hospital. He may be Gio's biological father, but he is creating a rift so big that the two may never have a relationship. When Gio discovered that Dante and Brooklyn were his birth parents, he was understandably devastated because his life as he knew it was a lie. He moved out of the Q mansion and disowned the family. Gio and Dante had issues before the discovery was made. The detective blamed Gio for Rocco's drinking and alcohol poisoning. It wasn't Gio's fault at all, but Dante refused to listen to reason. The violinist may have gotten past that, but Dante is at it again. Gio and Emma got Rocco involved in rescuing animals from a lab. Still, it was Rocco, along with Charlotte and Danny, who decided to break in and, unfortunately, got caught. Once again, Dad is putting all the blame on Gio. He has taken it a step further by refusing to allow Rocco to have contact with his brother. At the rate he is going, he may lose both sons. As Dante is running his relationship with his son into the ground, Brooke Lynn is lifting hers. Gio has softened toward his mom. She waited until he was ready to come to her, and he finally did. She is handling their fragile relationship beautifully, and it is clear that a genuine bond is forming between them. Even with Brooke Lynn helping to mend fences between father and son, it may be too late. Gio feels that Dante dislikes him, and with good reason. He even remarked that he has gone his whole life without a father figure and may not need one. Eventually, it will be Dante who loses out. Selena Wu's return to GH was not on our bingo card. General Hospital, alluding to Selena Wu being responsible for Drew's shooting, is a twist that fans do not believe. While Curtis was being interrogated by Nathan, he had a flashback to a meeting with Selena Wu at the Savoy the night of Drew's shooting. Months after Sidwell banished Selena from Port Charles, she suddenly came running back because Curtis called. They had a brief exchange where Curtis agreed to pay her $1 million to kill Drew. Throwing Selena in the mix was definitely not what GH fans expected. However, having her or one of her people be the shooter raises so many red flags and has fans convinced this is just a distraction. I think this was a red herring. If Selena had been behind the shooting, of Drew would be dead. A professional hitman makes sure one of the two shots is a kill shot, declared a fan. A few fans brought up the fact that if Selena or one of her people had pulled the trigger, Drew would not be walking around at all, much less with his cocky arrogance. Miss Wu would not send an incompetent assassin. Drew would be dead, or at least paralyzed, insisted a fan. One fan expressed, Selena Wu would have done a double tap in the back and head if she did it. She's not sloppy. So Curtis put a hit out on Drew with Selena Wu. He should be dead. If this is who shot him, it's kind of a letdown, stated a fan. Jordan, bringing up the fact that Curtis didn't have access to Edward's gun, was also mentioned on social media as to why the Selena twist isn't the big climax of this story. Also, there's no way that Selena or her people would use Edward's gun, as one fan brought up on X. Some GH fans are still convinced that Willow is the one who put 2 bullets in Drew's back. I still believe ultimately Willow shot Drew, but I love the twist with Curtis paying Selena Wu $1 million to murder him because now that throws a wrinkle into the storyline, and it's a plot twist that freshens the storyline up, said a fan. One fan has a whole theory on why Willow is still his shooter, despite this new piece of information. It was nice to see Selena back in the fold, even if there's no way she shot Drew. Having Selena back is also a reminder that the 5 families she, not Sonny or even Sidwell, should be feared. Rick Hurst says Rick's pull towards Sonny is rooted in something emotional and unresolved, their shared connection to Adela. For the first time in a long while, Rick and Sonny aren't circling each other like 2 men waiting for the bell to ring on General Hospital. They found a fragile middle ground so Rick could defend Rocco in court, and something about that truce nudged them into a deeper thaw, the kind that feels earned, not forced. It opened a door that both brothers have spent decades pretending wasn't there. And when Rick Hurst sat down to talk about it, he didn't hold back on what this shift means for the characters and for the work he and Maurice Benard get to do together. Hurst told Soap Opera Digest that he and Benard were genuinely excited to see a stack of scripts finally pulling their characters into the same orbit again. He said he felt thrilled to reunite with Benard on heavier material, describing how naturally they fall back into a shared energy even when the scenes get messy or he briefly blanks on a line. He recalled one moment where he fumbled mid-dialogue and Benard simply stayed with him, letting the scene breathe until he found his footing again. Hurst said, "We stay with each other during those times when something like that happens. For him, that trust, that willingness to ride the unexpected beat instead of killing it, is what makes their scenes land with more weight than the words alone." And as Rick works to meet Sonny halfway, Nisi, Hurst is watching his character push towards something more vulnerable. Not a redemption arc exactly, but a man trying to stop tripping over the same old wire. Hearst is openly rooting for this new chapter, saying, "If there's any opportunity for the development of this character to go into a new chapter and have that chapter involve his history with Sonny, I'm all in." That history is long, jagged, and crowded with the kind of resentment that leaves bruises even decades later. He pointed to the old Rick and Jason rivalry as fertile ground, noting how powerful it could be to revisit that triangle now that Sonny's trust is something all three men understand a little differently. And beneath all that, Hearst sees Rick's deepest pull, the part of him still chasing a connection to their mother, Adela. As he put it, Sonny is the only living connection that he has with his mother. Jack tries to rein Joss in, while Lucas forces Carly to face his choices, and Sidwell makes it clear he holds all the leverage. The next General Hospital spoilers video for Friday, December 5th, 2025, shows Lucas drawing a line with Carly while Laura wrestles with the cost of confessing, and Jack warns Joss she's edging too close to trouble. Lucas tells Carly, "You need to accept that Marco is in my life." It might be hard for her because she's worried about Lucas's proximity to Sidwell, but she'll probably have to suck it up and accept that she can't control Lucas. Meanwhile, Laura informs Kevin, "I can't turn myself in without implicating Sonny." She needs to tread very carefully, but Kevin has a strong moral compass, and he may be compelled to go to the cops with this info. He doesn't care if Sonny gets sent up the river, but hopefully, he'll think twice about implicating his wife. Jack lets Jocelyn know, "There is a line you are dangerously close to crossing." She's likely not happy that he disappeared Vaughn and is yelling at Jack about it. But scolding the boss when you're a spy doesn't often end well. At Sonny's, Sidwell says, "I have more than enough to put you and the mayor away." The villain told Laura that she's now taking orders from him so that he may try the same tactic with Sonny. However, Sonny has a Spinelli up his sleeve and should hopefully put the man's hacking skills to good use to find the source camera that photographed Laura and Sonny and erase it. And Jason bursts into Britt's room just as she collapses onto the floor. She clearly drank too much, but thankfully, Jason's there to pick her up and console her. Jason's essentially walking into a live PSA titled, "This is why we hydrate." Finn Carr's stellar acting has fans buzzing. General Hospital star Finn Carr has been delivering some powerhouse performances as Rocco, and fans have taken notice. Over the past few months, Carr has been given material to really showcase his talents on GH. That was the case again the other day, when Rocco stood up to Dante for trying to keep him away from his brother Gio. Rocco hit Dante where it hurt, calling out his dad for leaving him and his mom, Lulu, twice. The scenes were emotional and vulnerable, with Carr hitting out of the park, making fans understand exactly how Rocco was feeling. X was on fire, GH fans flooding the social media platform to sing Carr's praises, and she deserved every single one of them. So impressed with Finn Carr today, he really delivered. Cathartic as a longtime viewer to finally have those old storylines brought up after they were ignored for so long, declared a fan. A different fan insisted, "Finn Carr is such a fantastic young actor." Finn Carr, great acting today as Rocco. Good to see them give you more dramatic stuff to show off your abilities. Keep working at it, expressed one fan. Another fan wrote, "Finn is slaying in this role." Carr was referred to as a star by a fan, and we couldn't agree more. "Finn is teen sachet lightning in that bottle," stated a fan. One fan simply shared, "Finn is really killing it every day as Rocco." Those are just a few of the things GH fans are saying about Carr. The young actor is quickly becoming a breakout star on the ABC soap, along with a few of his other young co-stars. GH has found the right mix with its teen scene and young adults slaying in their roles. Carr's recent performances are proof of that. General Hospital fans, let's face it, we need some more sizzle on our soap. We need romance and heat. So today we're going to talk about 5 insane new pairings that could absolutely set GH on fire. We're going to talk about 5 wild couples that would rock the ABC soap, make jaws drop, and send shockwaves through Port Charles. All right, let's get right into it. Our first insane new pairing I think would be absolutely amazing is Carly Corinthos Spencer and Valentine Cassadine. This would be a hot new couple we've never seen before. And I do love a fresh romance over one that's recycled. And it is perfect because Carly recently threw herself right into Valentine's orbit recently because of her concern for Jocelyn Jacks. Carly's about to be single again because she's determined to destroy Jack Brennan for recruiting Joss Cieslin into the WSB and then lying to her face about it. So we recently saw Carly turn to Jack's former bestie, Valentine, who wants to destroy Jack just about as much as Carly does. Before this turn of events, Valentine and Carly's paths crossed a little here and there, but now they are fully in cahoots together, and I think it's incredible. Whether Carly's plan with Valentine to take down Jack works out or not, one thing is for sure. Carly is totally over Jack. So, I could definitely see Carly and Valentine sparking. I think they would be a lot of fun as a couple. They're a lot alike, incredibly fierce, and they both love and protect their children, going to great extents to do so. And Carly and Valentine, neither one mind coloring outside the lines. Carly might really enjoy having Valentine fall head over heels in love with her, which would obviously burn Nina Reeves's buns. Another interesting couple we've never seen before. How about Sonny Corinthos and Anna Devane? Many fans would like to see them together. I think a Sonny and Anna romance has been hinted at here and there more than once over the years, but it never actually manifested. Meanwhile, when General Hospital tested the waters with Anna and Jason Morgan, a big pile of fans hated that. Anna has been in Sonny's orbit for a long time because of how close he was with Anna's daughter, Robin Scorpio, and Duke Lavery, and a lot of things. So recently, Anna has been conflicted about her friendship with Sonny and how that contradicts her duty to uphold the law as police commissioner. But right now, Anna's been kidnapped, and maybe it'll be Sonny who rescues her, and that turns romantic. Do you remember how much Anna owed Duke Lavery? I loved them together back in the day. Finola and Ian were magic together, and Duke was a mobster a lot like Sonny. Not that I'm suggesting Anna and Sonny would be the new Anna and Duke, but it's a similar idea. I don't think that her daughter Robin would hate it, and I don't think Emma Scorpio Drake would either. It'd be dramatic and super soapy for Sonny to get with Anna, and I'd be here for it, especially if it kept Sonny away from Nina. Okay, a third couple that they seem to be dancing around and hinting at that I do think would be fun are Willow Tate with Harrison Chase. There is groundwork being laid, even though Willow just got married to Drew Kane Quartermain, and Chase is of course married to Brooke Lynn Quartermain. I mean, we all know Willow did not want to marry Drew. She doesn't even remotely like him. It's only because Willow thinks there's a chance that Drew can help get her kids back and beat the criminal charges she's facing. But for a while, we have been seeing these little hints that a Chase and Willow reunion could happen. Chase is one person who never doubted Willow's innocence for a minute. He is determined to clear her name. It's obvious they still have that deep friendship connection, but it could turn into something more, especially because General Hospital has laid the groundwork for Brooke Lynn to get with Dante Falconeri. So, at least for a while, we could see Chase and BLQ fall apart and recoup with other people, their exes. And of course, that would get really messy. But that's what we want on our soap. That's what we want on General Hospital. We want romance and hotness and drama and something unpredictable. And yeah, something messy. Plus, if Chase wound up with Willow, that would ruin what little is left of Chase's friendship with Michael Corinthos. And that would cause tons more chaos and drama. Speaking of pairings that would cause chaos, another duo that could happen that they seem to be tiptoeing around the idea of is Lulu Spencer and Nathan West. I think they have a lot of potential as a couple, short-term, but not long-term. So, first off, they've known each other for years, and Lulu is already close friends with Nathan. Second, if Lulu got with Nathan, it would rub Dante the wrong way. But he flat out told Lulu that he didn't want to be with her, and they had a whole blow-up about it. Plus, she's the one who found Nathan after his crash, so that's another sign they might be destined. And yeah, he is the love of Maxie Jones's life, and she is Maxie's best friend. But if Lulu got with Nathan, it might make it easier on Maxie when she comes out of the coma, because that way she can just automatically stay with Damian Spinelli, because Nathan's already with Lulu. And we all know with Maxie and Spinelli, That's another great love of her life. You can have more than one, I think, depending on a situation like hers where somebody you love dies. But also, if Nathan was with Lulu, it would absolutely rub Maxie and Dante the wrong way, and that would be super soapy. Maxie might be downright furious, but it wouldn't be the first time she and Lulu fought it out over something they disagreed over. And let's face it, Rick and Ava are done. And Alexis, she hasn't had a man in a good long time, so she's overdue. I would like to see Rick back with Alexis. I think it could start out as just a whole hate-sex thing since both of them are lonely, and then they kind of gradually develop feelings on a slow burn. It would be something different. It is a blast from the past, but they're basically very different people now. I think it'd be fun. I think it could be steamy. I'd be down for it. And I think all of these pairings would really jazz up General Hospital. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!